Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Braden and I'm still relatively new here. Today we're just going to jump on really quick to cover something that's been gaining some steam on social media the past few days, and that is a couple of family vloggers, Nikki and Dan Philippi, who have come under fire recently as a result of a video that resurfaced from 2018, 5 years ago, where they decided not to adopt a child from Thailand because they would not be able to use that child for content.
We are not adopting from Thailand. Whoa.
Sorry.
For a certain period of time. And so they decided not to adopt him. And so we're just going to look at what's been going on. I'm going to share a few thoughts. It should be a short video. One thing that people had issues with Nikki and Dan Philippi about were the fact that they were on video complaining about not being able to spank or use corporal punishment on foster children. And they talk about it in the sense of it's terrible that a Christian organization was barring them from fostering children or barring other people from fostering children because they had spanked their children in the past.
It's so ridiculous to be like, okay, there's a rule. You can't spank a foster child. And then people go, oh yeah, we spanked our kids in the past, but we don't even do it anymore. You could still, they said in our foster class, you could parent your kids however you want to. If you still spank them, that's fine, but you can't spank a foster kid.
They have to negate you. They actually said you might want to consider changing that.
Right, but they can't make you.
Yeah.
But they...
Supposedly.
If there's two different types of discipline going on in a household, it causes more issues. But to hear someone say, I don't do it anymore, and then deny them because they've spanked their kid in the past is completely...
Crazy.
It's crazy. And it doesn't make any sense in the vetting process of some Christian organizations. It just sounds, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. And I'm going to just stop there.
Well, on that note, that kind of leads us to where we're at right now.
But here's the thing. They probably don't want you fostering children if you've admitted that you've spanked your children in the past, because that could be a lie. You could just be lying and still be spanking your children and still be being abusive to your children. They can't take that chance on you. They have to at least try to find people who seem like they're going to be good for the children and that are going to provide a safe space for them to live. But... So basically the Philippines didn't adopt this kid from Thailand because they were told that in Thailand there is a special law that says that you are not able to talk about or share your child, your newly adopted child, on social media for the first year of having that child. And I would imagine that the reasons for this are pretty varied, but probably one of the reasons that this is a law in Thailand is because they don't want people adopting children for nefarious or inappropriate reasons, one of which would be using your child for content. I think that would fall under a nefarious reason if you're just adopting a child so that you can put them on the internet and make money off of them. So they didn't adopt the child. And this got big again on Twitter, and this tweet explaining why family vloggers are cancerous and terrible for the world. And they are, for several reasons. This tweet also mentions Micah Stouffer, who adopted a Chinese child, and the child had autism. After having him for a while, she decided to rehome him because he was too challenging. She used him for content, probably made a lot of money off of him, got a lot of clicks and views. And then whenever, I guess, his challenges outweighed the amount of money that she could make off of him, she decided that it was time to part ways, like it was a business decision and not a child's life that she was affecting. I think there are a couple reasons why this sort of thing is so insidious. And the first is white saviorism. Now, white saviorism is at work in a lot of places, not just in the family vlogosphere, not just for these people who adopt children abroad. There's a lot of places where we see this white savior complex, white saviorism at work. Just from my personal experience is these Christian churches who will go into poor and disenfranchised communities, and normally white affluent churches will go into these communities and will wave these prizes in front of children's faces to say, hey, if you come to VBS or come on a Wednesday night, you can get this PlayStation. Wouldn't that be nice? Or you can get this bike. Wouldn't that be nice? You can get this thing that you or your family could not afford on their own. And so we're going to bring you into the church. And you have a minuscule chance of winning that, by the way, but a little chance is better than no chance. Another way, this is along the same vein, is people who go on mission trips abroad, what is commonly called voluntourism. The work that they're doing is really about their own personal experience. In fact, in most cases, people who go on these short-term mission trips often cite the way that the people that they went to this place with were able to grow closer together, first and foremost, before they cite any of the work that they did or any of the people that they met. And if they do mention the people that they met, normally it's in terms of how it benefited them. You may hear, I thought I was going over there to help them or to teach them, but they really taught me something. It was really them that taught me. So there's more than one way that white saviorism works in the world. And this is not to say that white Americans who adopt children abroad are doing so for nefarious reasons. But what it is saying is that it happens often enough to where we can be reasonably suspicious of the motivations for doing so. I'm sure many of you remember the family in Oregon who adopted a bunch of black children and made them go hug police. And I remember a few years ago, several years ago, being on Facebook and seeing that picture shared unironically, like, what a great thing. They're bridging the divide between police and the black community. What they didn't share was that these children were adopted and their parents were white and they were doing this against their will. They were manufacturing a narrative in order to make money off of these children. I'm not sure what their end goal was. Famously, tragically, the parents of that family drove themselves and their children off a cliff, and it's kind of gross that that image still gets shared. So yeah, not everybody who is adopting abroad is doing so for nefarious reasons, but it is not wrong to be suspicious of people who are adopting children abroad because of the things that we've seen. In the video where they're talking about not being able to adopt a child because they couldn't use them for content, they kind of bury the lead. They say that, we're not allowed to talk about the child, and they list all the things that they're not able to do. And at the very end is the important clause on social media. That is the problem. We can't talk about our newly adopted child on social media, so there's really no reason to adopt this child. We're still going to adopt someone, they say, but we're not going to adopt from Thailand because we want to be able to farm our children for content.
Hi guys! So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because that's what the title already says. We are not adopting from Thailand. Whoa.
Sorry.
Yeah, we are still adopting. We're just not adopting from Thailand anymore. So
You want to explain why?
So here's the situation. Thailand has its own law that's unique to it, that after you pick up your child and they're your child, you are not allowed to talk about them or share any images, photos, videos, anything about them online for a year.
Yeah, and that,
So
I mean, Nikki's got a YouTube channel. We share a whole lot.
wait, hold on. When that hit, we literally were like,
Yeah.
what?
And so that leads to the second issue, which is exploitation. Now, normally in these situations, exploitation follows a white savior complex and a white saviorist mentality. Exploitation can happen outside of white saviorism, that is for sure. But normally where you see white saviorism at work, you also see exploitation happening. After I graduated from undergrad, the year after, there was a blackface incident on my undergrad campus. And I went to a small liberal arts university. Word got out to current and former students pretty quickly that this had happened. And one of the reasons is because a similar situation had happened in 2016, another blackface incident. And so it was fresh in everyone's mind. One of my friends got involved and started kind of making noise on social media and with the administration specifically. He was extolling them to remedy this issue, to take concrete steps to make sure that non-white students on this campus, especially black students on this campus, felt safe and felt like they were able to pursue their education without these barriers of having to wonder whether or not their white classmates were going to try to cosplay them or were going to be racist toward them in some way. And instead of addressing his issues, my university offered him a job as a diversity officer because they wanted to exploit his passion for justice, his passion for the student body, and use it for their benefit as opposed to actually fixing or working on the issues that they were being called upon to do. You can also see this different ways. Nonprofit organizations all the time will use stories of disenfranchised people in order to raise money for their organizations. I mean, literally look at any major nonprofit or even small nonprofit. This is what they do. They take stories of people who are on the margins and they center them, which in theory is a good thing, but they center them only so that they can raise money. But especially in this case, in the case of people like Dan and Nikki Philippi, in the case of people like Micah Stouffer, normally what we see is that these children are being exploited for content. And that is true for any family vloggers. Because here's the thing, you're using your kids to get views, to get money. So regardless of whether or not your children are adopted, you are exploiting them for content. But it is especially insidious to be using adopted children in your videos to gain money and gain fame and notoriety, if only for the fact that people watch your content with your adopted children as some sort of way to make them feel good about themselves. Like they're saying, oh, what a great thing, Nikki and Dan adopted a kid from Southeast Asia. Isn't that so awesome? Isn't that so great? So you're patting yourself on the back while you're raking in the cash. And yeah, it's just gross. This is a short video and I don't really have much else to say. It's just really disgusting that people think that this is normal for them to do, that people have no moral qualms about adopting children and using them for money-making purposes. If you're going to adopt a child for the correct reasons, which are to love and nurture that child and make sure that they are raised in a good household. If you're adopting a child for any other reason, you probably shouldn't be adopting a child. Now, Nikki Philippi's channel still has over 1 million subscribers, but her current videos do only get 10 to 15,000 views. So it's not like she's having that much influence on people anymore. But just in general, can we stop watching family vloggers? Can we stop watching people who exploit their kids? I guess that's the call to action. Please stop. Please stop watching these people. They do not need your support. They do not deserve your money. They do not deserve your attention. Let them falter into obscurity so that we can never hear about them again. The world will be better for it when people like Nikki Philippi or Micah Stouffer stop being able to have the means to do what they're doing, which is exploit children and sell it to people on the internet. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. We'll be back soon with another video.